Hi Anaka, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm all good. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm doing very good.
Mm.
First of all, I would like to thank you a lot for taking out your precious time and joining with us. As you know that Autism Awareness Month is going on, and I wanted to have a very insightful discussion with you, which is a very important topic, which is like what are the early signs of autism, and what do you think our parents and teachers should notice and be aware of?
Okay. First of all, I'm so happy to be here and be a part of this podcast. Yes, I will put my insights on your topic and make our parents and teachers more helpful for our kids. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so you're comfortable here?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So we can start off. Yeah. My first question is what exactly autism spectrum disorder is, and why do you think that early identification is very important for our kids?
So, autism spectrum disorder or ASD is a neurodevelopmental condition where a person experience lack of communication, limited eye contact, and also repetitive behavior we can notice,
Okay,
and also social interaction, less of social interaction.
okay.
Yeah.
So can you help me out with when you say communication delays?
Mm.
Can you explain it to me?
Okay. For example, if I'm talking to you, like
Mm.
how are you, you will give a response to
Yeah.
that, right? Like a back and forth communication. That won't be there. Like there won't be a back and forth communication happening with these kids, and they won't find it interesting to communicate also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of repetitive behavior you're talking about in here?
So repetitive behavior can be like hand flapping, jumping, like rocking on the chair, rocking, and also it can be seeing a repetitive song
Okay.
repeatedly,
Okay.
like a song will be played again and again, and there won't be enough of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay, understood. And can you let me know why do you think like the early identification is very important for our kids?
So it is a very nice question. Thank you for asking. So early identification is very important. It's because brain will be flexible enough to adapt the changes. Like for example, the child is not communicating. They have a delay in communication.
Hmm.
That can be improved when we identify this in the earlier
Early
stage,
stages.
and also the social interaction, in improving the social interaction. Also, maybe the eye contact. Also, we can improve if we identify it earlier.
Okay. Uh, okay, can you tell me at what age then these early signs of autism starts appearing?
Oh, it can be observed around 6 to 12 months.
Okay, 12 months. So,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, then what are some of the red flags that the parents should notice in a child as young as 12 months old?
So we can observe like limited eye contact and less interest to people. Interactive, they won't like to interact much. That, and also babbling won't be there. That will be absent. Limited eye contact, like I said
Hmm, hmm,
already,
yeah.
and lack of gestures. For example, we are waving, pointing. Hey Ankita, look at there, like pointing things. That will be absent, and unusual response to sensory inputs like texture, light, or any other sounds. The unusual, they will be over responding or under responding to these things. And one more thing is repetitive behavior. Repetitive behavior can be repetitive movements like flapping, rocking, and also spinning, moving back and forth, like rocking itself,
Yeah.
and repetitive use of objects like lining up the toys
Hmm.
and spinning the wheel and closing and opening the door. Those kind of things we can observe. The other thing is repetitive speech, echolalia, like they will repeat the same word. What, like for example, I am telling how are you, the child will be repeating how are
How
you.
are you?
Yeah. Then next one is uh, strict routine. They have to wear the same dress. They will wake up at this time only. If there is any change in the pattern, that will disrupt the kid.
Okay.
Okay. The next thing is strong focused on a particular subject. I can give you an example. Like when I have a child, an ex. Like I can give an ex. Okay, he is obsessed with dinosaurs. Obsessed, like everything. When I have a conversation, it will be about a dinosaur. Everything. So the obsession towards one particular subject. These
Okay.
can be observed during these stages. Yeah.
What are some of the early intervention strategies that the parents can use or incorporate at home?
So we were discussing about the challenges kids with autism are facing, like lack of communication, limited eye contact,
Hmm.
repetitive behaviors, and behavior challenges. These can be addressed through few strategies at home, like building communication. Building communication as such, like using simple word of communication and motivating them to communicate using gestures and all, and using a simple word, one phrase like come, sit. That can be an initial thing of communication. Next is like um, clear sentence, clear use of language. If I randomly say go there, pick that, and come, you have to be clear. What? Go to the kitchen or go to the bedroom, pick a red pencil, come back. This can be a clear language. Example for clear language. Next is focus on eye contact.
Okay.
So how we focus on eye contact? It's like bring an object. Maybe the child will be more interested in that object. Bring that to your face, closer to your face. Let the child look at it. So like that, we can improve the eye contact level.
Okay. Like
Uh,
that, the kid will have a clear understanding of where the child should
yes,
look
look
into.
into. And
Sure.
also maybe we can use a sound kind of toy, like playing, and make them look over there. So
That
the
will attract them
yeah,
more.
yes,
Yeah.
those kind of strategies we can follow for improving the eye contact. Next is play based interaction. It can be, we have to become a child for that.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to be act like a child. Let them play. We can just be with them, observe them, let them play. Then in like step by step we can be part of the play. Like okay, like parallel play, what they are doing, we can act like them, imitate them, and we can actually find a they like when we are doing such things, maybe they will see us. We can,
Yes.
yeah, they will pay attention on us.
Hmm.
So then slowly we can take up the toy. Okay, we can take the turn taking play, and also the parallel play. We can do all these things through play based interaction.
So it's more like, first of all, we should understand what the child is.
Yes.
Child wants to play.
Haha.
It's not like we imposing something on the child.
Yeah.
Play with this, play with that.
No.
It's more like the child starts playing, then we also start playing along with the child. We have to go
Yes.
according to the child.
Yeah.
The child can't go according to us.
Most of the time it's like we are the elders and we will keep certain rules, like do this, play only with these toys. Let
Yeah.
them have the choice, let them select and play with the, and we have to go with them. We have to be like a child to understand their level of playing and all.
Yes, that's a good strategy actually, because no point of forcing a kid to play with this, play with. What if the child doesn't like the car?
Yeah.
What if the child wants to play with the ball? Is
Hmm.
not at all interested in the car. Makes
One
sense.
more
One
important
question I actually wanted to ask you: how do parents differentiate between a late talker and a child with a possible developmental concern?
Okay, late talker. Late talkers are those who delay in speech. Like speaking will be later, like late than compared to their peers, but they will catch up by the time. For example, like they will be developing normally. They can understand language properly. They will be using gestures like pointing, waving, and also they will give eye contact. And one more thing is late speakers will be also engaging in social interactions. Like they will be engaging in social interactions, but on the other hand, like ASD, the child with ASD will be less of giving less of eye contact. They won't understand simple language. They won't use gestures like waving or pointing. And obviously, like we discussed, they isolate themselves. Okay, how we can differentiate them? The key point is, um, one key point we can see is these late speakers have the urge to communicate.
Okay.
Yeah, not a need based communication, a spontaneous communication. And other key point we can see observe in them is, we can see a pattern of progress. A progress we can see, a steady progress we can see over the time, unlike ASD kids.
Okay. So what I understood is like, the late talkers, they are having developmental delay only in the talking area.
Yeah, speech
Sorry, not
delay.
developmental delay.
Yeah,
They're having delay in the milestone of talking, but
Yeah.
other milestones are like achieved properly.
yes.
Okay. One more
Yeah.
question I had.
Okay.
It's a very popular misconception.
Okay.
You obviously have heard of it, which is like, boys often talk late,
Mhm.
okay, then compared to girls. So I just wanted to know how true is that, and do you think this will lead to a delay in their diagnosis?
Okay. So the communication part, the speaking, making sounds, it they develop around the age, not age, the month of 6 to 12 months.
Okay.
During that period, the child, the toddlers will make sounds. They will babble, baba, dada, and everything. They started during that time. If the boy child is not giving the response, they are not achieving the milestone. Maybe the parents might think it is because of the boy child. Yeah, it is slightly true. The boys might get little delay in speaking compared to girls, but that doesn't give a parent a choice to take a step back and observe,
Hmm.
take time. They
Okay.
have to really act fast if
Hmm.
they are not achieving the like growing milestones. Yeah.
And is it till the age of 12 months, or it can go forward? Like, what are the milestones, if you can let me know?
Okay. The when they can be concerned of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So no babbling around 6 to 12 months if nothing is happening. And okay, next is no sign of single word around the period of 16 to 18 months.
Okay.
Okay. Then it is one word or two word phrases or words they are not
Words.
using around 2 years. And like I said before, no eye contact,
Hmm.
difficulty in understanding simple languages. Then they have these areas they have to be concerned of if they are not achieving these characteristics or these
Okay.
points.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I got it. So it might be that for some baby boys,
Mhm.
they might delay, but if it's going beyond 12 months, it's going beyond 16 months, till the age of 2 years also, if they are not using two words, I think,
Yes,
two
yes,
or three words, then it's a concern for the
parents
parents.
also.
Okay. Okay, Anika, that was a nice explanation we got. Now I want to jump back to a topic that interests me a lot. So we have been talking about communication delays, the way they are not being able to interact in our society, and also one topic comes out up is the repetitive behavior. Now I want to know, are these any all kind of repetitive behaviors are concerning, or are they red flags?
Okay, repetitive behaviors. Not all the repetitive behaviors are to be concerned or addressed. For example, toddlers. For toddlers, repetitive behaviors are one thing they learn through repetitive behaviors.
Okay.
Like for example, they explore the world in repetitive behavior. For example, I can say that the playing of sounds again, playing of music again and again, and a meaningful play they will be playing repeatedly with the same toy again and again,
Hmm.
lining up the toys again and again. So that is the way they explore things.
Hmm.
That can be a learning process for the toddlers.
Okay.
And I can give more examples like they will line up the toys and play meaningfully with that.
Hmm.
That is okay. And also when they are playing, they can be easily redirect.
Okay.
When they are playing a repetitive behavior, repetitive play, we are coming and interacting,
Hmm.
and they are interacting with us.
Okay.
Then the child is okay. It is
Hmm.
quite normal for the child to play like that.
Hmm.
And when they are playing, they are using gestures. When we are calling, they are giving eye contact, response.
Hmm.
These things we are not able. These things we shouldn't be concerned of.
Concerned about.
Okay, and showing wide range of interest. Okay, they have a favorite toy, they have a favorite pattern of playing,
Hmm.
but they have a range of choices also.
Okay.
Hmm? These areas we won't be much concerned of.
Concerned about.
Okay, however, if when should be concerned of, when the parents has to look this matter seriously, then
Right. Yeah.
yeah. So when the context, the intensity and the flexibility of the behavior,
Hmm.
we have to focus on those areas.
Hmm.
Like if the behavior is very frequent,
Hmm.
if the child becomes very extremely upset, like upset when the toy is being taken off, or we are not giving the toy, the child will be extremely upset and started this throwing tantrums and all. And one more thing we can see is not able to replace.
Okay.
Yeah, and this will lead a limited communication because child is obsessed with one thing doing again and again, so the lack of communication also will affect. I can give you an example.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
so the child is playing with the same toy, and we are coming and having a conversation, but the child doesn't give attention at all.
Okay.
The child is obsessed. Then we tend to, okay, take away, then grab the attention.
Mm-hmm.
That is also won't be working, because the child is so much of obsessed with the behavior pattern. Then it has to be addressed and come to concern.
Okay.
Yes.
Next, I wanted to know. I have heard a lot of people telling the child is having sensory issues. The child is seeking sensory. So, can you tell me what this means? What is this sensory issues are?
Okay. When you talk about sensory, we have five senses,
Right.
like hear, sight, smell, touch,
Taste.
taste,
Yeah.
and touch.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
These are five senses.
Yeah.
For when it comes to sensory sensitivity,
Okay.
a child, how the child's brain process and respond to like sensory information in a
Okay.
daily basis.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
For I can give you example. There are two patterns: hypersensitivity and hyposensitivity.
Okay.
Hypersensitivity. Sensitivity. What is hypersensitivity?
Hmm.
Hypersensitivity is something like they will be over response to some sensory inputs. Hyposensitivity is opposite of it. Like it's like under response to sensitive inputs.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I can give you examples for hypersensitivity. Okay. Hypersensitivity is the child will be covering ears when loud sounds come, or
Okay.
they will cover their ears and they avoid the sounds and everything.
It's like too much of information for them.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is like that. Next is the child with hypersensitivity will avoid bright lights, refuse to certain textures. It can be a cloth, wearing the clothes, the texture of the
Texture of the
cloth,
cloth. Yeah.
and maybe they will avoid brushing, combing their hair, maybe taking bath also, like taking shower also, they will avoid.
Texture of the
Texture,
water.
yeah,
Hmm.
this can be affected. And one more thing is like they doesn't like movements like swing and this like running, those kind of things. This movements they won't be liking much.
Okay.
uh, like on the other hand, this hyposensitivity, they see constant movements. They want
Hmm.
jumping, seeking, spinning, they will be crawling, they will be crashing on things, those kind of things. And other thing is they will be highly tolerant to the pain.
Okay.
I have seen kids hitting the wall, hitting, they want that pressure.
Okay.
Yeah. Then other thing is touching everything, grabbing everything.
Hmm.
And one more example I can give is they will seek pressure, deep pressure. Have you seen kids coming and asking for the hug, tight hug
Hugs.
again
Yeah.
and again?
Yeah.
So they are hypersensitive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And seeking bright lights, vibrant colors.
Vibrant colors.
Yeah.
Hmm.
These are two types of patterns we see in sensitivity, like sensory sensitivity,
Okay.
hyper and hypo.
Okay. So, like, if too much of information, too much of sensory inputs are bothering them, it, from what I got to know, it's like it becomes very disturbing for them. They can't take too much of information's
Yeah,
inputs.
it will be uncomfortable for them.
Okay.
Like when the child is uncomfortable with the clothes, we have to say, okay, the child is not uncomfortable, let not force the child to do such things.
Hmm.
Let the process be slow.
Hmm.
Like we can take time and introduce slowly. If the child is like hesitant to take bath or shower, we can slowly introduce to small textures, like introduce to like sand play, something, pebbles, then slowly introduce to wet sand, like that, slowly to the water
Hmm.
play.
Hmm.
It is not like jumping over, like we are pushing the child to that extent.
Forcing the
Forcing
child
the,
to
yeah.
do it. Okay. 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 That was a very good information. Actually, I always wondered like why people say this, but I got a good explanation from you. Thank you so much. So Anaka, now I'm going to talk about a very important topic, which is screen time. As you know, lots of parents are concerned about that. So what is happening right now is like for making the child eat, we are giving them screen time. For making the child fall asleep, we are giving them screen time. But I want to know whether this screen time can end up having autism-like symptoms in the kids. Is it possible?
Okay, it's a very good question and a very relevant question to the
Yeah.
time. So screen time, now it's a big major part of kids'
Hmm.
day-to-day life.
Yeah.
So when we see, So some traces and some early signs we can see in this mimic of autism, like symptoms can be seen in this obsession over the screen time kids.
Okay.
Hmm. So, for example, we can see a communication delay in kids because the screen, when they are seeing the screen,
Hmm.
like when they are watching the screen for a long time,
Hmm.
it's just they are just a viewer. They are
Yeah.
passive viewer. There is no interaction.
Sure.
There is no interaction between
Hmm.
them. They are just watching. So it may it I think it will delay the communication.
Hmm.
So that is one thing.
Hmm.
And next we can see is they poor response to name call.
Yeah.
Okay, when we are calling, they are obsessed watching and seeing the screen time. They won't hear.
Sure.
Even
Yeah.
I can
They
give
don't
you.
want to respond also.
Yes.
They're like seeing. Like, why should I
Yeah,
respond? I'm into
yeah.
something.
So that is one thing, the
Hmm.
poor response to the name call. Next we can observe is reduce social interaction. Oh my god, we have so many examples to see.
Yeah.
Like they will be very hurry. Okay, this time I have this show and this series is coming. Okay, I have to watch. So they prefer more meet, like, alone time, isolate themselves. So the interaction between others will be very less.
Yeah. So like how whatever I have also seen,
Yeah.
if when we relate to us, right, earlier when all the cousins used to meet up and all,
Mm.
we started talking, we will have fun, we will dance, we will eat. But now mostly even the small kids, when they are going for a marriage or anything, they'll sit in a corner very busy with
Busy
their
with
phone,
scrolling, yeah.
scrolling reels and all,
Yes.
games and all. They don't have the time to talk to their cousins also. And if I have seen, like, if they're talking to cousins also, it's like through the phone. The
Yes.
medium of communication is the phone.
Yeah, very
True.
true. So the other thing is a repetitive behavior. We can observe that also in kids, toddlers also. We can see them repeating the cartoon dialogues,
Okay.
and also the tone and the language, the slang also will be like Shinchan, something like that. And also, have you seen this Italian brain rot?
Yeah, some trololo.
Yeah. Even I don't know that, but kids are obsessed and they can tell all these things. It's a brain rot. Still, the parents encourage to watch it. I don't know, because these things we can see in repetitive behavior. So next is attention and behavior issues. So the attention there, they will be less attention seeking, less attention. Like when we are talking about something, they won't be able to pay much attention to the subject or
They
the
are not
topic.
having the screen
Yeah,
much.
yes, and they will be zoned out most of the time. And when we remove the this screen time, suddenly they will be very aggressive at that time. So attention and behavioral issues starts because of this screen time. Whatever I said, these like communication, reduce the social interaction, prefers isolating themselves, repetitive behavior, it is the early signs of ASD. So
Yeah.
that is mimicking, like, actually. But there are certain things, there are difference, we have difference between ASD and also this.
Okay. And what do you think the parents can do to manage this? Because it has become a very necessary thing in our life right now for all the parents. As you know, both the parents are working nowadays. So they are left with no choice but screen time. But still, if you can give some advice to the parents or some suggestions to the parents, what it can be?
Okay, I am not telling like zero screen time at once. We can actually try reducing it. A balanced life. We can give time, and other after that, after screen time, we can introduce any other interesting games like hide and seek and all. It's like very interesting nowadays. I'm not seeing kids playing those games.
Yeah.
Then we can replace it with other some, having a face-to-face interaction, playing with some other toys, outdoor games, more outdoor games, and reading a bedtime story. I can give you an example of my sister itself. Like, she wants a screen time, then only she will be able to sleep. It's like that now. Before, it was in my childhood, my parents will be telling a bedtime story, then I will sleep. It is very pleasing also.
Yes.
But now it is affecting their attention span, behavior issues, communication, repetitive behavior, all the aggressive behavior. These things are happening. So parents, it is very important to reduce the screen time and make a balanced life.
Yeah, and
Bring a
replace
balanced life in children. Yeah.
and replace screen time with other
Other
activities, like more of ground play.
Yes.
more of story times,
Yeah.
face-to-face
Yes,
interactions,
yes, yes.
more of communication, that will
Yeah.
help a lot.
Yes.
Okay, okay, that was very important for all of us, because um, these are not something like people might need once in a lifetime. Nowadays it has become a regular issue, so it will help our parents a lot. So Anaka, now we had a lot of themes for the parents, a lot of takeaway points for our parents. Now, can you help out for our teachers too, if they can know like what are the things to be observed in the classroom setting?
In a classroom setup, teachers can observe whether the child is socially interacting, is the child making friends, or they are interacting with the teachers itself. That can be observed. Next is prefer to play alone. So even after seeing the friends playing, the child will be staying in the classroom. They prefer to stay alone. So these kind of traits, the teachers, if teacher is observing, that is very important. Then next is no eye contact, even to the parents, teachers, or friends. They pay less eye contact. Next is no group activities. They don't find interesting in being in a group, or like I said before, they want to be isolated themselves. They isolate themselves. They won't feel comfortable in a group. So next is no turn taking or sharing things like the peers do, like their age group do. They won't do such that they don't know the concept of turn taking or sharing. Like want whatever they have, the toys, for example, toys by themselves. Those kind of traits. Like they don't want to share the pencil with anything. Nothing. Or when they are playing also, they won't be able to wait for their turn. Okay. Yeah, they will be grabbing things. They won't buy everything by themselves. Next is communication difficulty. Communication can be need-based communication also. They find it too difficult to express it. And also their emotions. Instead, they will be throwing things, crying, instead of communicating. Then next is epilepsia and delayed speech. Epilepsia, like repeating the same thing again and again. And
Can it be like a question also, if the teacher has asked the question, the child can repeat the question, keep on
Yes.
repeating the question?
yes, like what is your name? Again, child will be responding, what is your name? That is like epilepsia. Next is no response to name call. They will be in their own world, so they won't pay attention to the name call. They won't give eye contact. Like we discussed earlier.
If they're playing with anything, they keep on playing with their writing,
Yeah.
they keep on writing.
Yes. So, and next is repetitive behavior. Repetitive behavior in like lining the toys in the same pattern, and also like closing and opening the door again and again. These repetitive behavior, and maybe repeating the songs again and again.
As we already discussed.
Yes. Next can be a sensory sensitivity. Okay. Like loud sound, bright light. Maybe loud sound, they will be closing their ears, and bright light, they will be refusing to see. They will be avoiding such situations, and maybe they will ask them to remove this uniform, the texture. Maybe they were not comfortable with. Yeah, those kind of things also, and eating avoiding some eating things, like I don't want banana, I don't want rice items, avoiding such things. In the
Is it because of the texture?
Yeah,
like
it is
the
because-
banana slimy texture of
that also can be observed in the classroom setting. And what else? The difficulty in transition, like from playground to the classroom. They find it very difficult. Like they will be crying, I want space. Like the difficulty in transition can be observed. Next is they are these will be more visual learner than verbal learner. Like, they want everything to be visualized, explain in a story way, so that they can understand.
so when they can see the
Yeah.
when the things that are being taught are more in a visual way, they can learn it.
Is
So one important thing I have to, a piece of information I have to give to the teachers is, like after seeing only one behavior, please don't conclude that the child is into spectrum. So the teachers should see like four patterns. Like for example, one is the behavior pattern, the social interaction pattern, how they communicate, and also one is the sensory response. These 4 patterns, let's see, observe, then come to a conclusion.
Okay. So based on one, they should not make any conclusion.
Conclusion, yes.
Okay. I think that will be very helpful for our teachers, because there might be some teachers who actually want to talk to the parents, but since they are not confident enough regarding what autism is, how to look into the areas,
Mhm.
so they will be more confident to talk to the parents. Thank you so much. Now I wanted to know if the parents think that the child might be having some of the symptoms. Who do you think that parents should go and consult?
Okay, it's a very important question. Mm, Parents can go for a pediatrician first,
Okay.
because pediatrician can see is there any challenges they face during the developmental milestone, and also they can rule out hearing, and also any medical condition is there, hearing impairment is there,
Okay.
so they can go through all
Hmm.
these, then guide you according to the evaluation. Further evaluation is needed or what.
Okay.
Yeah, to the psychologist. Further, you can go for a therapy.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's like pediatrician. Then they can go for a psychologist, and the psychologist will rule
Give
out
the- yeah.
or give the diagnosis.
Yes,
Psychiatrist
and
will give the
assessment will be
diagnosis.
done.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And accordingly, they can go for the
For a therapy.
therapies.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the end, one piece of advice that you want to give the parents so that it will be helpful for them. Throughout the session, the whole session was actually very helpful for the parents, I think, and the teachers too. But a last piece of advice that you want to
So one piece of advice I would like to give you is, don't get carried away by the pressure of the society. Give right attention at the right time, because sometimes what seems to be very small issue today might turn into a bigger difficulty tomorrow.
So it was a very nice information to all, and it's a very important information actually, because we can't just play with our kids' life. It's very valuable. They're very
Yes.
valuable. They're very important to us. So thank you, Anaka, a lot. So I hope so. The podcast was very informative for all the parents and as well as the teachers. Thank you, Anaka.